Welcome to Hustle and Heart, finding success and fulfillment on your own terms. The podcast that's here to educate, inspire, and help you step into your power con mucho amor. As a first-gen Latina, I know what it's like to hustle hard, break generational cycles, and still wonder if I'm doing enough. I welcome you to this space, a place where we drop the BS, have raw conversations about mindset, success, and creating a life that's fulfilling to you. Think of this as your weekly cafecito chat with your long-distance, ambitious bestie where we talk about the real struggles, wins, and mindset shifts that actually make a difference. No fluff, no gimmicks, just honest conversations that help you take real steps towards the life that you want. So grab that cafecito, take a deep breath, and let's get into it. Okay, be honest. How many times have you set a goal, got super excited, made a plan, and then weeks later found yourself right back where you started? Maybe even feeling like you just can't break out of a certain cycle or a pattern that keeps showing up. I know that I've personally been there. But what if I told you that the reason you're stuck isn't because you lack willpower or discipline, but rather because your body is literally living in the past? Now, when I first heard this on a podcast that was featuring Dr. Joe Dispenza a long time ago, I was shook. My mind was blown. And I remember in this podcast, Dr. Joe Dispenza breaks down in such a powerful way that not only was it life-changing for me, but I recently found some old notes that I took from listening to this podcast, and I thought that it was quite timely. And that's why I've created this episode to share the biggest takeaways with you, share what I've applied in my own life, and perhaps help you accelerate your own results in a completely natural way. Let's get into it. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions acquired through frequent repetition. So if you've been doing something for 20, 30, or 50 years, your body is already programmed into a predictable future based on what it did in the past. Now let's pause on that. Let's sit on that for just a moment. So that means every time you react in the same way, whether it's doubting yourself, procrastinating, or feeling unworthy, you're just reinforcing a program. It's not even you at your highest level. It's just an autopilot version of you that's comfortable in the known. And listen, I totally relate to this. I used to wake up immediately starting to think about my never-ending to-do list. I would feel instant wave of stress take over and then constantly rush. And I'd feel like I'd be rushing into my day and I was always catching up. It was like I started off the day already behind. And every single day, it played out the same. I felt overwhelmed, I felt exhausted, and stuck. But here's the shift. If you're not defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the emotions of the past. And that keeps you stuck. So how do we break free? Well, it starts with something he calls the generous present moment. Dr. Dispenza explains that when you're truly present, you can't run an old program. You're not just replaying yesterday on repeat. He shares that finding the sweet spot of the present moment means your body can't anticipate the future or rely on the past. It has to exist in the now. And when that happens, your energy shifts. So I decided to try this out and test this myself. So instead of waking up and immediately feeling overwhelmed by my never-ending to-do list. I started my mornings with meditation, some breath work taught by my therapist, and a visualization exercise. And instead of jumping into problem-solving mode off bat, I took a few minutes to set the tone for my day with calm intention. And let me tell you that the difference is insane, wild. Suddenly, I felt in control, clear-headed, and I even felt more creative. Because I wasn't responding to life, I allowed myself the space to create it. And, Dr. Dispenza has science that backs up his research that shows when people practice being fully present, they start regulating over 1,500 new genes in just weeks, 8 weeks, I believe he said, 8 weeks. And these genes promote healing, clarity, and success. So that means your brain is literally rewiring itself to be the version of you that already has the life you want. Now, here's another mic drop moment from Dr. Dispenza. He quotes, "We become addicted to the very chemicals of stress and use the people, conditions, and problems in our lives to affirm that addiction." Woo! Let's sit with that. Okay, how often do we cling to stress, anxiety, or even self-sabotage simply because it's familiar to us? Because for years, I would wait until I felt pressure before I take action. I thought I worked well under stress. I worked best under pressure. But really, I was feeding an addiction to survival mode. Dr. Dispenza calls this living in the hormones of stress. When we're stressed, our bodies shift into fight or flight mode, and we literally cannot create. Our body is focused so much so on surviving that there is no room for it to thrive. I know this firsthand because for years I grew up and lived in a constant state of stress. And in 2020, that stress caught up with me in a way I never expected. And I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Life changed for me from that point on in every way. But the most powerful transformation wasn't just physical. It was mental. I literally lost my mind just to rewire my mind. So, how do we change this? Well, it's gratitude. Dr. Dispenza shares that with 10 minutes of gratitude a day, that can heal you. And that is better than anything. I put the test. I started a gratitude practice. I implemented it within my new morning routine. Not just listing what I was grateful for, but actually feeling it, letting it sink into my cells. And let me tell you, the way my day started shifting, insane. I felt lighter. Opportunities started coming out of nowhere. And I felt the most creative. It's like my creativity skyrocketed. And that's the thing. When you change your energy, you change your reality. So here's where the magic happens. Dr. Dispenza shares and teaches that the key to transformation is rehearsing your future until your body believes it's already real. He shares that if you cultivate an elevated emotion before the actual experience, you're teaching your body what that future feels like in the present moment. So what does that mean? Stop waiting to feel successful or loved or abundant. Become it now. Feel it now. I made this a daily practice. Every morning I spent a few minutes truly feeling the version of me that had already achieved my goals, the version of me who is clear, confident, and magnetic. And you know what happened? My actions naturally started aligning with that version. Instead of hesitating, I took action. Instead of second guessing, I trusted. Instead of waiting, I created. Instead of worrying, I surrendered. And now, my life feels completely different. So here's a challenge for you. For the next week, give yourself just 10 minutes a day to be fully present. Start your mornings with a meditation. Breathe deeply, visualize your future, and feel the emotions of having it right now. Practice gratitude, not just in your head, but in your body, and watch how things start shifting. Because remember, you are not a prisoner of your past. You are the creator of your future. Before you go, let's keep the conversation going. If today's episode resonated with you, then share it on your stories and tag me. I love seeing how these conversations land with you. And if you're ready for more, I welcome you to join my newsletter community where I share exclusive insights, mindset shifts, and tools to help you grow not just your mindset, but small biz too. All the details are in the show notes. This is Vanessa Betances signing off. Keep building, keep believing, and keep showing up for your dreams, mi gente.